My coworker sued me after taking advantage of me for months, so I made everyone hate her and they made her work life hell. I, 21, was recently in a mild car accident with my coworker, 40. I would regularly give her, and others, rides from work because she lives really close and I didn't mind sparing her the money she'd spend on a taxi. I don't own the car. It is my parents', but it gets really good gas mileage and driving 2 miles isn't a big deal to me, with their permission. I was just trying to be kind and do people a favor. While others expressed gratitude and respect for me, she kind of took advantage of me and expected it from me because I have trouble saying number 3 to 4 times she told me, not asked me, to stop at a store/gas station for her to get snacks and cigarettes. Again, I struggle to say no, especially when someone intimidates me. I shouldn't have done it, so that's on me, but still, she took advantage of me regularly because she knew she could. The car accident was not my fault in the slightest. Someone ran a stop sign on a road where I didn't have a stop sign and I was going the speed limit. Luckily, I was paying attention and was able to hit the brakes in time, so the bumper was a little messed up, but there was no serious damage. The driver and passenger of the other car were very hostile to us and my coworker was saying she was going to sue them. She didn't look like she was in pain. She was standing and walking fine but just said, "Oh, my back hurts a little," and seemed to find it funny. The impact wasn't super hard. It's not like anybody else got whiplash or anything. She was even joking around and laughing with a police officer about how she was going to get her check. He offered her an ambulance and she said she was fine and that wasn't necessary. She ended up going to the hospital a day later. I'm pretty sure that was solely for having a medical record of it, but I don't know what the doctor said/diagnosed. I honestly didn't think she was seriously injured because she had no mobility issues or obvious pain, but I can't prove that, of course, even though I thought it was BS. I still checked in on her the next couple of days to see how she was doing and she told me she was okay. A week or two afterward, she and another coworker were kinda aggressively pestering me to get a lawyer to sue them so they can't sue me first, but they had no grounds to sue and I just didn't think that was necessary or worth the time and effort, and I had no desire to cause harm to them. Now onto the real problem. I found out recently that my coworker is suing me/my insurance company, not the other driver. She was aware that my family's financial situation is very poor, just barely making it by paycheck to paycheck, and that we were already on thin ice with our insurance, so I was super anxious about the accident. She was fully aware that a lawsuit would seriously F over my entire family. Because my brother got in 3 no-fault accidents within the last 3 years, one totaling his car, our insurance bill was very high and we were kind of hanging on by a thread with that company. I guess the lawsuit was their last straw, so they dropped us, and by November we will be uninsured. We're not eligible for new insurance until the lawsuit is settled, and since it's illegal to have a car on a loan uninsured, there is a possibility of my parents losing their cars. My entire family is in an unbearable level of stress because no cars means we can't get to our jobs without spending a small fortune on public transportation. My job is 24 miles away, and my brother's job is impossible to do without a car, so there is a possibility of us losing our jobs and almost half of the household income. Again, my coworker was aware of all of this before filing the lawsuit. Why I think I might be the asshole. I told 3 of my coworkers about the lawsuit, 2 of them because I see them as friends that I can trust, and they had asked me about what was going on with the accident. I was vague at first with the details, but it's been eating me alive with the stress, so it kind of came pouring out and I said more than I needed to. The third coworker, that also knew about the accident, asked me for a ride to the train station, so I explained that I'm not allowed to give people rides anymore because of the lawsuit, so we had to take the work van instead. I didn't tell her as much about it, but still I didn't need to tell her about the lawsuit. I could have just blamed it on the accident itself. All 3 of them promised they wouldn't tell anyone, and I believe them, so I don't expect rumors/drama to spread around. None of them particularly liked her anyway because she just isn't a friendly person and can be pretty standoffish, so I wasn't ruining friendships or anything, but it definitely worsened their opinions of her. For more clarification, I wasn't talking poop/calling her names or anything. Just saying factually what happened. One of the coworkers I told blocked her phone number. I told her not to, but she said it was her own decision and not my fault, and she promised that she wouldn't say anything about me if she gets asked why she blocked her. The one filing the lawsuit called the work phone 4 times during our shift to try to speak to the one who blocked her, but she didn't answer the phone. I also told our manager about the situation, both because I thought it was necessary to disclose, and because I wanted to make sure I wouldn't lose my job if I took a temporary leave of absence due to the transportation issue. She's a per diem worker, sort of a substitute who works at other locations as well, so this manager isn't her direct supervisor. She already didn't like the coworker because allegedly she has caused problems with several other employees. My manager called her disgusting and was almost more upset than I was, and agreed that it was really messed up to knowingly harm someone who was doing her a favor. She even offered me permission to record her discreetly if I wanted to have proof of her functioning as normal, gave me info to contact an insurance agent, and gave me the phone number for HR to get proof that she hasn't missed work because of the injury. I didn't ask for any of this. She offered it. I may be naive, but I'm not an idiot, and I'm so hurt that I only ever showed her kindness and empathy, and she took advantage of me for her own benefit. I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt the day I found out and that there may be some mistake, as she said she would be suing the other person and my legal name is not the name I use at work, but she's been ignoring my texts even though she's always on her phone and refuses to give me the contact info of the witness. She definitely knows what she's doing and how this is impacting me and is intentionally avoiding me so that I have no defense in the lawsuit. I did her a favor over and over again for several months, asking for nothing in return, and she showed zero appreciation for it and screwed me over as much as she possibly could. I feel really guilty now because it wasn't necessary for me to keep talking about it, and even though it made me feel better/validated, it's none of their business and I don't know if it was wrong for me to involve them. While the lady kind of deserves it, I wasn't trying to make anyone hate her. Update: I never thought this whole situation would turn into such a mess. After my last post, things got pretty intense at work, and it wasn't just me feeling the weight of it anymore. Apparently, word got around. I hadn't expected people to react the way they did, but once a few coworkers found out about the lawsuit, the vibe toward her completely shifted. It wasn't like I was trying to rally the whole office against her, but once people knew what she was up to, they really didn't want anything to do with her. They hated the fact that she was suing me, especially knowing that I'd gone out of my way to help her for months. She made things awkward, trying to act like everything was fine, but no one was having it. The thing is, no one ever liked her to begin with. She was always kind of a pain, bossing people around, acting like she was above everyone else. But after the lawsuit, people made it pretty hard for her to work there. It wasn't anything direct, no one confronted her or anything, but you could feel the coldness in the air. Coworkers stopped engaging with her, ignored her calls, and refused to cover shifts for her. One person even blocked her number, and I didn't even ask them to. The office manager stopped giving her good assignments, and eventually, she was only getting called in for the worst shifts. You could tell it was getting to her, but she tried to play it off like nothing was wrong. As for the lawsuit itself, I was dreading the whole legal process. I knew I didn't have much to work with. She had already gone to the hospital and had a record of the injury, and she had been ignoring my texts asking for witness info, so I figured she was going to throw everything she could at me. But my manager came through for me in a way I didn't expect. She offered to give me any info I needed, including proof that my coworker hadn't missed a single shift since the accident, which was huge. That meant there wasn't any real evidence of her being injured enough to warrant a lawsuit. I also got a lawyer, thanks to a recommendation from one of my coworkers, and I made sure to document everything. I kept a record of all the times she had asked me for rides, the texts where I'd checked on her after the accident, and everything she'd said about her back pain while joking with the officer. My lawyer said that her behavior immediately after the accident, along with the fact that she declined the ambulance and laughed about getting a check, would work in my favor. When it came time for the lawsuit to move forward, things took a turn. My lawyer was able to get a statement from the police officer on the scene, confirming that she hadn't shown any signs of serious injury, and that she was joking around about getting money out of the situation. On top of that, my lawyer contacted HR and confirmed that she hadn't missed any work due to her supposed injuries. Between that, the officer's statement, and the fact that I had been driving cautiously, the case was looking a lot better for me than I initially thought. In the end, the lawsuit didn't go the way she planned. The insurance company saw right through her act and refused to pay her anything significant. She got some compensation, but it was nowhere near what she was expecting. As for my family's insurance situation, it was touch and go for a while, but my parents were able to find a new policy after the lawsuit was settled, and we didn't lose our cars. As for her, she stopped showing up to work not long after the lawsuit ended. Whether she quit or was quietly let go, I'm not sure, but no one really missed her. The office felt lighter without her, and honestly, I don't think anyone would have been able to work with her after everything she pulled.